Hello friends, we are in the kitchen today and we are going to make a maritime delicacy. And if you've never heard of this, it might sound weird when I start explaining the recipe and how to make it, but we are making East Coast Hodgepodge today. It is made all over the Maritimes, I think particularly in Nova Scotia. It's typically made with new young vegetables. So the four that we typically use in our family, it's kind of like, gumbo in the southern US. Like every family has their own version and their own, particular way of making it. And Hodgepodge is very much like that here. But we typically use baby carrots, new potatoes, shelled peas, and a mix of green and yellow beans. I'm just using yellow beans today. Jarrett doesn't like yellow beans and he also doesn't like Hodgepodge. So this is my chance to eat a lot of yellow beans. I haven't planted any of those this year, so we'll be eating a lot of green beans later on. So I want to get my fill of yellow beans while I can. So far, I'll show you what I have here. So these are things that I just picked up at the market today. I got a few new potatoes. I quartered them just so that they'll cook a little faster. When they're really small baby potatoes, my mom just throws them in whole. And I also have some peas and some yellow beans that while I get the carrots and the potatoes cooking, I will shell and snap my beans. Typically, this is cooked in just a little bit of water, and when the vegetables are cooked, you kind of drain them, add cream or milk and butter. My mom and my grandmother usually used milk. I like to use cream, so I'll be using cream today. I have also heard today I'm actually going to add a little bit of bouillon to my water just to give the vegetables a little more flavor, and that way I'll be able to use a little less salt when I go to salt and pepper. In our family, we do just use salt and pepper to season along with the cream and the butter. That's the entire flavor profile. I have heard of people also adding onions and garlic. Sometimes people add bacon, but in our family, we keep it pretty simple. You can add other vegetables. Literally, Hodgepodge just means mixed pot of vegetables. So whatever veggies you have coming in, you can probably throw in this and it'll be delightful. I know some people use turnip. You could use a variety of things, but we're going to keep it simple today and just use the four veggies that I grew up eating in Hodgepodge. And I'll get the water added to this. We'll get the heat on, and I'm going to start shelling and snapping my beans. All right, I've got my water in there. I've got a little bit of better than bouillon that I'm just gonna stir in here into the pot. I'm gonna lose my spoon. I'm gonna turn the heat on fairly high. And this is one of those things you don't measure. So this is just go with what feels right. This probably would have been easier with warm water, but it'll work, it'll be fine. And I'm gonna let this come to a boil. I'll turn it down a little bit and I will just simmer it until my carrots and potatoes are kind of fork tender. If you like your beans cooked a little more and with a little less crunch, you could add them in before these vegetables get fork tender. I like mine to have a little bit of squeak still, so I'll put those in when these are pretty much tender. And the peas are the very last thing that I will add, maybe around the same time as the beans, maybe a little after. But we'll get this up to a boil and I'll get these things prepared. So shelling peas is a job I was often given as a child by my grandmother and my mother. I'm not entirely sure why, because I know the majority of peas that I shelled ended up in my mouth and not in the bowl. And then my poor mother and my poor grandmother would have to come behind me and shell more peas. But it was one of my favorite, this is one of my favorite garden things that I remember as a child is eating peas straight out of the garden. And Hodgepodge was always a part of our summer, kind of, you know, midsummer when the vegetables would start to ripen and come to fruition. You know, we'd be eating Hodgepodge straight through till fall. And I know that that is a tradition that a lot of Maritimers share. Now this would also be a good keto or diabetic recipe, because you can control what vegetables you're putting in and how much of them. You could use fewer potatoes if you wanted to lower the carbohydrate count, but this is adaptable to pretty much all diets, which is one of the reasons why I love Hodgepodge so much. Okay, my vegetables are getting close. They're getting quite soft. So I'm going to go ahead and add my beans in now. I have to do a couple handfuls, I guess. And I'll just give these maybe 5 minutes before I go ahead and add my peas. We're getting close, guys. We're almost done. This is really one of the easiest things to make. And I think that's why it's such a popular summertime meal. When it's hot outside and you don't want to like make anything complicated, this really comes together really quickly. And time for the peas to go in too. And we're about 3 minutes away from the next step. All right, we're there, guys. So I'm just gonna turn the heat off. I'm going to drain most of the water, not quite all of it, and then I'll be back. Okay, most of the water is gone, not quite all of it, and we are quickly going to add some butter, probably a couple tablespoons, maybe 3, and I want to make sure that gets to the bottom so it gets nice and melted. And then basically I'm just gonna add cream till it covers the bottom essentially, and it looks right to me. So I'm using just coffee cream. This is like an 18%. I'm just gonna, there's not much left. I'm just gonna use the rest of it. That should be lots. I'm gonna turn this on super low because I don't want to burn anything. I don't want to scald my cream. But I just want this to kind of heat up a little bit and kind of meld together. I'm also gonna add my salt and pepper. A little bit of salt. Give that another stir. That's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna turn the heat off and I'm gonna serve this up in a bowl. I want to make sure I get lots of the liquid in there too. And there you have some Maritime Hodgepodge. I can't wait to eat this. All right, I've got my Hodgepodge here. It's still steaming hot, but I'm gonna give it a little test here. Try to get some peas in with my carrots. Tastes like summer. So if you've never had Hodgepodge before and never heard of it, I hope you give it a try. And if Hodgepodge is something that your family used to make, I would love for you to leave in the comments how you guys make it and what variations you guys use. This is one of my favorite summer meals, and this is just the beginning. I'll be eating lots of it over the coming weeks, and it might be fun to try some variations. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.